On the night of December 9th, 1996, 36-year-old Lisa Redmond was on duty as a Pizza Hut delivery driver in West Valley City, Utah. She had been working at her job for a few months, leaving around the same time every night to return to her family. Little did she know that particular night would be very different. By the next morning, she was dead, bloodied and hit by her own car. But how? Police found sufficient evidence to rule the case as a murder, but there were no suspects and no leads. The case quickly went cold. For 28 years, Lisa was deprived of justice. That is until 2024, when New Age technology came to the rescue once again. What evidence could have surfaced after so long, and how was the case ultimately solved? Lisa Redmond was working a night shift at the Pizza Hut restaurant in West Valley, Utah. As the pizza delivery driver, she was used to taking multiple orders and deliveries in one night with her pickup truck. On December 9, 1996, Lisa was last seen at 9:45 p.m. when she drove out of the Pizza Hut car park to make the final delivery at a hotel near the airport before going home. 10 minutes later, police got word of an injured woman on 3100 South, 5300 West. By the time they got there, Lisa was on the ground, still dressed in her work uniform. But she was found dead. Her clothes and shoes were bloody as she lay still on the pavement. A crowd quickly formed around her, but police were able to dispel them and take notes. According to the evidence, they determined she had been hit on the head and torso by a blunt object. From the way her body was twisted, it seemed like she had also been hit by a car. Colleagues from Pizza Hut quickly noticed the delivery truck was missing, along with all of Lisa's belongings. The next day after Lisa's death, police discovered her 1994 GMC extended cab pickup truck at 3291 South, 4400 West, a church parking lot in West Valley. They soon matched it to the tire prints found on her body. A shoe print was also found on the passenger side, but this was confirmed to be Lisa's. There was also evidence of a struggle in the truck, as well as splatters of blood on the headrest, the seat buckles, the passenger seat, and at the interior of the car. Drops of blood were also seen on the lower passenger side panel leading to the back of the truck, as well as on the exhaust on the passenger side and the components under the truck. With this information, police quickly determined she had been hit by her own car, which she used to make deliveries. A knife with a complete palm print was also seen, and detectives ruled the death as a homicide. Lisa's employer at Pizza Hut quickly offered a $5,000 reward to anyone who could give more information about what happened that day. However, no one came to claim it. The only thing police had were the blood samples, her car, and a whole community of people scared about a killer on the loose.
It's been a mystery in West Valley for nearly 30 years.
A mom of 2 kids murdered and left on the side of the road with no sign of who did it.
Meanwhile, detectives decided to look into Lisa's life, looking for clues. She was born on September 4th, 1960, in Littleton, Colorado. Her parents, Al and Penelope Comer Bassett, raised and educated her in the same city along with her brother, Mitch Bassett. For a brief time, Lisa served with the U.S. Navy. On the 9th of June 1987, Lisa was married to James E. Redmond Jr. in Salt Lake City, Utah. They had 2 children, Megan and Nathan. In addition to her job as a pizza delivery driver, where she often worked overnight shifts to contribute to the household finances and support her children, Lisa Redmond was also a volunteer teacher's aide at Silver Hills Elementary. Once a week, she devoted her time to teaching children how to read. Lisa also enjoyed camping, needlework, and reading. She was known for her loyalty as a wife and her dedication as a mother. Sadly, a kind-hearted person was taken from this world so soon. and there was nothing much the investigators could do at this point. In 2000, when the case had started to grow cold, Pizza Hut increased the reward to $10,000. The detective assigned to the case, Anita Monson, regarded this as a good incentive, especially as they believed Lisa's killer had been assisted that night or had confessed to the crime to someone. Still, nothing came up, and for more than 2 decades, there were no developments. That is, until 2019. With the advancements of DNA technology and forensic science making headway, the detective leading the case reopened it. Along with other members of the police department and forensic analysts, they ran a blood sample found on the seatbelt of the delivery truck and got a match. After 23 years, there was finally a breakthrough in the case. In March 2019, a West Valley police lieutenant investigating the cold case received a report that advanced DNA testing was performed by the state crime lab on the blood taken from the seatbelt in Lisa's car. This testing was done with CODIS, which stands for Combined DNA Index System. This is a computer program which searches DNA databases nationwide to match the samples to profiles of convicts, crime scene evidence, and missing persons. And soon they had a break. The DNA found in the blood sample, as well as the fingerprints on the knife, matched to a middle-aged man, Donald Eugene Young Jr. Police quickly brought his file up on the database and found that he was already serving time in the Utah Correctional Facility in Gunnison for the assault of a 23-year-old University of Utah student in 1996. The same year of Lisa's murder, and just a month earlier.
He's currently at the Utah State Prison on sexual assault convictions to a jury that's also started in 1996.
He's a suspect in a 1999 murder of a University of Utah student, plus the murders of 3 other women in St. Louis.
He had been convicted for this in 2010 and was serving a sentence of 30 years based on the charges of 2 counts of first-degree felony aggravated assault and 1 count of second-degree felony robbery. This was also solved due to DNA evidence. In 2019, another West Valley Police Department forensic investigator compared the prints from the knife found in Lisa's car to a palm print card belonging to Eugene and found them to be a match. He was promptly interviewed by the police, who told him that his palm prints were found at the scene of the homicide in December of 1996. However, he denied even being in West Valley City at the time, until police showed evidence of him riding a UTA bus that fateful night. He also worked about 4 miles from the Pizza Hut where Lisa worked, somewhere on the border between Salt Lake City and West Valley City, and that particular area had 2 bus stops nearby. Due to the evidence brought by the forensic investigators, Young was officially charged with aggravated kidnapping, aggravated robbery, and the first-degree murder of Lisa Redmond. Prior to this, he had already been incarcerated for a number of crimes. In 2008, before the case of assault on a university student, Young was charged with the 1999 stabbing and murder of a 22-year-old University Theater Arts student, Amy Quinton, in her Salt Lake City apartment. When he was linked to the killings of 3 women in Illinois, Amy's case was put on hold. However, all 3 murders were dismissed due to the lack of solid evidence, so he was transferred back to Utah to face the murder charges for Amy. Initially, this was a death penalty case, but this case was also dropped in 2012 due to the lack of evidence. 57-year-old Young had also been charged for the murder of 3 other women in East St. Louis, Illinois. It was popularly known as the garbage bag murders because the women had been found dead in trash bags. In 2017, the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole ordered Young to serve 23 more years in prison for his 1996 assault conviction before another parole hearing. During this time, police gathered more evidence that put him at the scene of Lisa Redmond's murder. On the 9th of May 2024, 5 years after the first charge in 2019, Young was formally charged again by the Salt Lake City County officials, thanks to the preserved DNA evidence. Though the blood from the crime scene had been tested before, new advancements in DNA testing had finally solved the case. The Salt Lake District Attorney, Sam Gill, announced the charges of murder, aggravated assault, and aggravated robbery.
Case from 1996. They say 36-year-old Lisa Redmond here was last seen in West Valley City. 28 years later, Donald Young is now facing 3 charges, including an aggravated murder and robbery charge. This is just breaking. We'll have more information coming up for you.
Young initially pleaded not guilty, but after further investigation and interrogation, he was confirmed to have been present at the crime scene. Still, he pleaded not guilty. From the beginning, the West Valley City Police Chief, Colleen Jacob, said it was a classic whodunit case.
This was a genuine whodunit from the beginning. There was very little evidence or leads, very few leads in the beginning to follow.
There were very few leads to follow in the beginning, but with recent advances in technology, we've been able to put together many of the missing pieces in this case, she said on the day Young was charged. Justice for Lisa and her family has been a long time coming, she further stated. Unfortunately, in June 1999, Lisa's husband, James, died in a car accident near Fort Collins, Colorado, long before he could get justice for his wife. His death resurrected the case in 2000, which made Pizza Hut up their initial $5,000 reward for information. Megan, Lisa's daughter, was just 8 years old when her mother died, and a lot of her memories are distorted. However, she remembers her mother as a very kind, very loving, and very generous person. Lisa's son and younger child, Nathan, was 5 at the time of his mother's death. It's been a really long time with no closure and no answers, she said when the charges against Young were made. It's great, if possible, that justice is served, that somebody is held responsible, that it doesn't go unsolved or, she mattered. She still matters. The rest of Lisa's family members requested privacy to deal with the new development in their own way. Young was 31 at the time of Lisa's death and had harassed several women in many different ways, from assault to robbery to murder. The police knew him from other crimes, but they didn't think he was involved in this one. Lisa was a dedicated mother, a loving and loyal wife who didn't deserve to be killed in that manner. Yet life's unfairness didn't spare her from Young's grasp. Still, she fought and suffered before her death, making sure to leave evidence that would eventually get her justice. Young has been sentenced to spend 30 more years in jail for his crimes, and one can only hope that he will spend the rest of his life paying for all of his heinous actions towards women.